Welcome to the 100 Master Coaches series featuring master coaches from around the world. Let's journey together on this 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Today's master coach is Micki McMillan. Micki's combination of coaching expertise, leadership development, whole systems thinking and business acumen enables her to facilitate lasting change, fast turnaround, and measurable results. Now on to the show.
Welcome everybody. This is Coach Mel and you're on the 100 Master Coaches series. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Micki McMillan and she's from Colorado, US of A. Can you give a warm welcome to her? Come on, everybody. Welcome to the show, Micki. How you been?
Thank you so much. Very, very well. Very well.
And I recognize it's probably nice and sunny there in Colorado. It's morning over there.
We are doing summertime. We're in the middle of summer up here in the Northland. Sunny and in Colorado we get about 300 days of sunshine a year, so we're very lucky that way. And so
yes, and we in Melbourne get about 300 minutes maximum, and then it switches. It could be even 300 seconds. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm just gonna jump in, Micki, and ask you about your coaching story. Could you tell us how did it all begin for you?
It began with a betrayal, actually. And so it's interesting how the shadow takes us to the light, is it not?
Wow.
And so I was a corporate executive, and I was the only woman in a very traditionally male organization, highly engineering skills and this sort of thing. Yeah. And so our CEO decided to hire coaches for us, and there were 9 of us. It was nice. I thought, this is fabulous, because I felt profoundly lonely in my role. And so I was the only woman, of course, and there were 9 of us who were in this pilot. And I bore my soul to my coach.
Okay.
And discussed all those things that were really challenging for me and difficult for me. And then one day, our CEO, who hired the coach for all of us, or the coaches, had us for lunch because he wanted to hear about our coaching journey. And in his introductory remarks, he was talking about my story. That I had revealed to my coach. And I was shocked, and I was outraged, and I was terrified.
And so you should.
Yeah. So I went out and hired a coach to coach me for my corporate coach.
Okay.
So that was how my journey started. But what I really saw, Mel, in that process, even with the betrayal, how helpful it was for me to have a thinking partner, someone who could challenge me, someone who could help me feel my own greatness that I could bring to my role. And so I saw the goodness in it. So those were the seeds of my early journey. And so I left that organization and decided I wanted to pursue coaching, which I did.
Wow. How long after was that you left that? Do you have a time to think about it, or you jumped into it straight away? What was that process for you?
I jumped right in.
Okay. Wonderful.
I jumped right in. I found a coach training program that worked for me. And I thought I was going into that program where I would learn how to coach. And to my great surprise, I learned this much about how to coach, and I learned this much about how to be in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it was quite an awakening for me. And Yeah. And
All
and
right.
so from there I started my next career
Mm.
um, as a coach.
And how long ago was that? I'm not trying to reveal anything here.
I was very young when I was that was in the late 1990s.
Okay.
And so I went through my first coaching program
Yeah.
in 1996,
Okay.
and, and then started my business in 1998,
Wow.
and and so that was the beginning for me.
That's amazing. I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but how was coaching in that 1998 era? Just to get a little bit of a glimpse of that time.
Young, it was very young, you know, and in my coaching program, I really did not learn how to coach. I
Okay.
saw wonderful coaching
Yeah.
and um, that I could emulate and try to
Mm.
mimic. And I learned some qualities, of what
Mm.
is it about a coach. But that was before we didn't have the core competencies really
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a definition of coaching yet, so it was very much kind of like how we refer in the United States as the Wild West.
Yeah, yeah. Well done. Thank you for being the foundations of what
Mm,
we know as coaching today and the ICF. So thank you. I'm
thank
sure
you.
there are stories with that. But tell us just a little bit about that journey, that first 5 year window. Some ups, downs, a mix of that. Please tell
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Um, I realize now, looking back, that I
Mm.
was my own worst enemy. Um,
Okay.
I and I knew how to relate with people. I had done it for years.
Yeah.
Um, I knew how to foster trust and this sort of thing. But what I really didn't have a lot of confidence.
Okay.
And if you break the word confidence down, it means with faith. And I
Yeah.
I really didn't have a lot of faith in myself that I had the capacity um, to be good at this.
Mm.
And so it took a while. So I was my own worst enemy at the very beginning, although I was starting a business and I was networking and, created a rudimentary website at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was an evolution. But looking back, my biggest struggle was me,
Mm.
and my biggest win was me as
Mm.
well. And
Mm. Interesting.
it, yeah.
And how did that come about in that understanding of self, in that unpeeling of those layers? What happened in that process?
I met my mentor, and
Mm.
he, to this day, I would crawl over glass for Fred Kaufman, and he was my mentor.
Okay.
Fred and Peter Senge started the Center for Organizational Learning at MIT,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Wow.
and I loved his work. And as it happened, um, Fred came to Boulder, Colorado to start his business
Mm.
after he had left MIT. And I called him up one day and said, I want to meet you. I want to study with
Oh,
you.
that's good.
And he said, well, you need to come for an interview, and your interview will be to coach me.
Oh, wow.
So,
All right. Mm-hmm.
so I went to Boulder, Colorado, and I met Fred Kaufman, and I coached him. It was the worst coaching session of my life. And he said, that was a terrible coaching session. And so I was
But
ready to
that,
pick a
there's a silver lining to this. I know it's coming.
there is a but. He said, but I see who you are,
Wow.
and I see what you can do, and I want you to come and work for me.
Wow.
And so not only,
Amazing.
it was, you know, it's how lucky am I, And so I got to work for and study with Fred Kaufman for about 4 years.
Mm,
And that's where I really learned to coach, and where I really found my grounding
mm,
for what it is to be a coach, to be of
mm.
service. So
That
that
is
was my
yeah.
journey, first 5 years. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's such a beautiful story, especially when you did not give in to that self-limiting belief in that sense and went out there and called Fred up and say, let's meet. I think that was really, really courageous of you. Well done. Which leads me to the next question. I don't know whether that's the answer, but what would be your bravest moment in your coaching career?
That was certainly one of them.
Okay.
Um, I think the other that really comes to mind is in 2008. I'd been through different iterations of my business and partnerships and such
Mm,
after Fred and I went our separate ways.
yeah.
And in 2008, met my current business partner. And we looked at each other and said, we need to start a business, a coaching business. And we also looked at the newspapers, and it was at the beginning of what was to be a very scary time for economically.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
and so
Mm.
we started a business in 2008 called Blue Mesa Group. And we looked at each other and said, this is either a good idea or a horrible idea, but let's cast the die and just see what happens, And
Yeah.
so we did. And it turned out to be a really, really good idea.
Mm, mm. And so that brave move to start something with this new partner brought you to new heights, new experiences. What is that for you?
New heights, new experiences.
Mm,
She was a former executive with both Citigroup and also Merck,
mm.
the Merck and Company, the
Yep,
pharmaceutical.
yep,
And so she had a lot of moxie, a lot of business savvy,
yep.
and a lot of courage. And so together we were a really good complement with each other. Um,
Mm,
and so, uh, we studied risk and we studied benefit and that sort of thing. And so, and we decided to go for it. And we launched our ACTP program.
mm.
We were able to get that approved with International Coaching Federation,
Yep.
and began teaching coaches in 2008,
Wow.
and and also doing coaching. So we had a blend of leadership consulting, coaching, coach education,
Mm.
and it turned out to be a really good move. We decided we were not going to invest in brick and mortar, or no buildings. We weren't going to rent
Yep.
space.
Yeah, that was
Um,
smart. Really smart.
it was, and it has turned out to be a really good move. But invest in technology, invest in, the people who would know how to do the things that we didn't, like
Mm.
website design and
Yeah.
uh, that sort of thing.
Fantastic. So that took you all together. When I do my calculation with my fingers, about 24 years of coaching. Is that correct? Around there, 25 maybe?
It's pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Fantastic.
You
That
can see
is
the gray hair.
it's silver anniversary anyway. So there you go. There you go.
Oh, the consummate diplomat, Mel.
Micki, what would be 3 insights that you can share with us over your wonderful 25 years of coaching?
I think that the first thing,
Mm,
that the skills of coaching are exactly the skills that we need in this world
mm,
more of. listening, being curious, asking questions,
Mm.
um, ethical, being
Yeah.
being kind,
Yeah.
that's one that has come to mind. Um, the second is that the journey of coaching, whether you are being coached or are a coach,
Mm.
is it's a journey of both learning and change. And
Yeah.
we all have that capacity to change and to evolve.
Yeah.
And I think the third that kind of goes along with that is that people can change if we want to.
Mm.
And it's we're very plastic, we're very resilient
Mm.
beings. And to me, those who are able to change and move um, with agility and with ease are the youngest of us, if you will. And I'm
Yeah.
not talking chronological,
I
obviously.
understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Agility is such an important um, value, if I may, in this day and age, especially with so many things that are changing on a daily basis, even with the pandemic that we're facing worldwide.
indeed.
So, wow.
I would
Wow.
I would love to add a fourth insight,
Oh, yes,
if
please.
I could, and that is that this is an inside job, and this
Nice.
is my work, and who am I in the face of the world? We talk about, when we teach our coaching program, it's 20% skills, 80% who are you as a person.
Wow.
And that matters a lot. Who are
Mm.
you as a person, as a coach? Um, because if you're just out to make money,
Yeah.
you can make a lot of money as a coach, but if
Yeah.
that's your drive, you're missing the glory of it and the grace of
Mm.
coaching.
I love that. I love how you put it in words, the grace and the glory of coaching. I've never heard that words come together with coaching before, and I think that is beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Micki, if you had a chance to press rewind, go back and kind of like do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I would reach out to other coaches and find my peeps. Um, I, I didn't know how to do that, really. I mean, ICF started and was around.
Mm.
Um, I didn't know how to network with my peers. I didn't know how to
Mm.
find them, even though I joined ICF, but um, I joined ICF because I wanted the credential. I wanted
Yeah.
the PCC and the MCC,
Yeah.
and I didn't really appreciate the depth and breadth that even then that ICF had. So
Mm.
that would have been, one of my coulda, woulda, shouldas. Would have been that, to have
Mm.
reached out for help and found some buddies.
Mm. Mm. I kind of guess that in your program you would kind of encourage that to be happening. Is my guess close to?
Good guess. Good guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of our students who come back, and just pick up the phone and call up and say, I just ran into this challenge, and so we appreciate that. We love that, because
Yeah.
we love to stay in touch and to be in touch, so that's a real joy of
Yeah.
that. And so, and then to connect our students with others who are in
Yeah.
in the coaching world. It's a delightful role to play.
I resonate with exactly what you say about the whole piece of connecting with the peers, because that is perhaps one of the biggest reason why I joined the ICF, was to have that kind of fellowship, because it is a lonely journey out there.
It
And
sure can.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you know, we're a global community,
Mm,
thankfully. And we,
mm.
you know, get on the ICF website and you can find someone in Melbourne
Yes.
or Denver, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it takes the effort to connect, right? It takes the extra yards to reach out. And yes, I'm really happy like you are on this show as well, Micki. So thank you.
You bet. You bet.
Micki, as you look into the crystal ball, what does the future of coaching look like? What do you think?
I hope this is accurate, because I do believe that coaching has an extraordinary capacity to influence the world for the good.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I think my aspiration for the future is, how do we nurture and foster the use of some of the coaching skills?
Mm.
You know, so if all of us employed the core competencies,
Yeah,
if we did that, imagine what kind of conversations we have. You know, imagine if
true.
we built trust and we really deeply listened
Yeah.
and asked questions from sincere curiosity.
Mm.
I mean, imagine that world. You know, it's
Yeah.
pretty sweet to me. And so I think we have an opportunity, and I think that is something that we, as coaches, should all aspire to do, is somehow influence those behaviors among our community members. Um, you know, more practically, I think
Mm.
group coaching is certainly a big part of the future of coaching,
Yeah.
and one that we really need to pay attention to, and I think we are, I hope we are,
Mm.
is really integrating everyone into the coaching community who would like to be there. How do we make
Yes.
it available to um, to people who, for example, may not be able to outright afford
Mm.
to attend classes to become a coach?
Mm.
You know, I serve as the global chair for the ICF Coach Training Board, and we got a communication yesterday from a woman, I believe she was in the United States,
Mm.
who said, I really want to go through an ACTP program, but when I look at the tuition requirements, they're beefy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's very expensive.
Mm.
Now, as a training director of an ACTP, I appreciate how much it costs
Yeah.
to run a program
Yeah.
well, you know, but that's irrelevant. You know, what's more relevant to me is, how do we make it accessible and
Yeah.
affordable for people who really want to pursue this?
Mm.
And you know, so I think ICF has a place there for that. And from the coach training board, we're looking at that. You know, we're looking at the whole social justice piece of coach training, that has to
Beautiful.
include that.
That is beautiful. That just really just resonated like a. I was talking to another coach the other day, and she says that there's this sound of resonance when you hear it. It goes boom inside your soul. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Mm. There's just so much that we can do as coaches in our community. Hmm. We've got time for two more questions, Micki. And And then I've got to let you go.
Darn.
The next question is your master wisdom. What is that master wisdom? Like we talked about in the pre-show, Yoda, and then there is the young Skywalker there who's waiting to hear that wisdom. So this is for the budding coaches who are listening in today.
The way you frame that question is truly humbling. Is I'm grateful to be able to attribute master coach to my title. But there's no there, Mel. There's no end point of, so it's a striving for, strive for mastery.
Wow.
Strive for embodying all of the qualities of what it is to be a coach, and going back to the inside job, one of the things that has helped me the most is I have been a practitioner of meditation for about 25 years, and that has helped me to stay grounded and to be clear and to be able to connect with what's important. And I dare say, I think it's been a part of my ability to be aware of where I am in the face of others. One of the mantras of a coach is do no harm. If we have to really be very careful of that. It's very easy to do harm with unconsciously. And so the power differential between a coach and a client in that particular moment is lovely and dangerous. It's lovely in that if I'm acting as a guide and someone coming from love, it's a beautiful place. If I'm acting as I have to come in and solve your problem, I have potential to do harm.
That is humbling. And it's definitely a high responsibility there.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Micki, we as coaches ask questions quite a bit. What would be your question that you want to leave behind for the listeners today?
What are you doing to be kind to yourself today?
What are you doing to be kind to yourself today? And we can ask that every single day.
Yes. Let's carry it out. But if I'm kind to myself, then kindness, I hope, emanates to others.
Definitely. Definitely. Wow. This has gone into such a Zen mode right now, Micki. I can just feel that presence. And it's just so beautiful. This is the kind of coaching space that we enjoy as coaches, partnering humbly for the grace and glory of the client. Micki, tell us a little bit about how we can come in contact with you.
Mm, thank you for that. I welcome questions and comments, and I think it's a delight to interact with others. Our website is Blue Mesa, the color blue, Mesa, MESA, coaching.com. And that's a way we have a contact us, and we
Wonderful.
do not make it a practice to spam anyone. So, that's a way to contact. And we also have a Blue Mesa Facebook page and a Blue Mesa group LinkedIn page. And so those are a couple of ways that we would be delighted to hear from others. So
I'm gonna take this opportunity. Thank you so much for that. But I just don't want to end it at this. I want to give you this opportunity to lead us in a short time of being kind to ourselves. Would you like to do that?
thank you. What a privilege. So I'll share what I do.
Sure.
And what I do is I sit in a chair that supports me. And my first thought is, how do I feel heavy in this chair with a posture of nobility and dignity? And so that's my first, so that I'm holding this physical thing as a vessel for kindness. And I breathe into my heart. May I be kind to myself today. And may I appreciate the very gifts that come to me, whether it be a conversation or a bird that flies over or a flower. And may I take that out into the world.
Thank you. Thank you for spending this time with us. Thank you for being you. And thank you for what you do for the community of coaching. Micki, it's been my pleasure to host you on the 100 Master Coaches series. And look forward to catching up with you another time. Until then, guys, we're going to say officially goodbye from Micki and I. Catch you later on the next series.
You have been watching the 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Brought to you by Catalyst Coach. www.catalystcoach.live. We will be right back with our next Master Coach on the 100 Master Coaches series.